Thanks for joining me for another Pixie Talks review vlog.
Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks.
I am very excited this week because this week I'll be talking about a movie that I've been pretty pumped about for a long while now. Yep, the newest Muppets movie just hit theaters, and you can bet that I rushed out to go see it. Let's have a look at Muppets Most Wanted.
Kiss me on the cheek and I'll show you all the moves like Jagger. I've got the moves like Jagger. I've got the moves like Jagger.
Okay, so I grew up with Muppets movies. They were a staple of my childhood. Now, I am a bit young to have caught the original Muppet Show, of course, but my parents were pretty big Muppets fans, so I saw all the Muppets movies. Some of my absolute favorite movies as a kid were Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol. So when the Muppets came back into the cultural spotlight in 2011, I was elated. I loved that movie and was pumped to see this one too. Now, Muppets Most Wanted has been getting some mixed reviews, but before we delve into the why behind that, let's just cover the basics. The movie starts with the Muppets wrapping up the filming for their last movie, after which they quickly realize that they also need to make a sequel. After asking around about what the next movie should be about, Ricky Gervais helpfully suggests to Kermit that the next movie should be about the Muppets taking their show on tour, and thus the next movie gets underway. But as you may know from the trailers, Constantine, the most dangerous frog in the world, is a veritable Kermit lookalike, so he swaps places with Kermit so that he can pull off a masterminded heist with Kermit safely behind bars. It's up to the Muppets to realize they've been duped and bust him out of prison, but can they? Kermit is kind of the brains of their whole operation after all. Now, the biggest complaint that people are having is the sidelining of Walter, who was a major main character in the last film. Walter doesn't factor as hugely into this movie as many would like. Since I grew up on classic Muppets, it didn't actually really bother me, but I can understand why it would for a lot of people. Bringing the Muppets back into the cultural spotlight heavily revolved around adding Walter into the core cast. This film also didn't feel nearly as emotional or engaging in a more meaningful way as the last one. And that is partly due to the lack of a strong character struggle in the center of it all. This one focuses a lot more on just allowing the zany and colorful cast to be as weird and silly as possible, and I thought that worked pretty well for it. I thought it was outrageously funny, with lots of laugh-out-loud moments and weird, quirky scenes and situations. Easily the best aspects of the film were Ricky Gervais and Constantine, as well as the bumbling inspectors who, would I be wrong if I assumed that Jean-Pierre is a nice little nod to Inspector Clouseau? The other big problem that many people have pointed out, however, is its heavy reliance on celebrity cameos. And when I first heard that people were complaining about the celebrity cameos, my initial reaction was, really? Muppet movies have always had celebrity cameos. They've always been part of the shtick. But after seeing it, I kind of get what people are saying here. The classic Muppet films had carefully chosen cameos, and the celebrities who made appearances were always there for a purpose, to do something funny or entertaining. This right here is one of my favorite Muppet movie moments ever. John Cleese's cameo in The Great Muppet Caper. This scene is brilliantly funny and perfectly portrays John Cleese's style of humor. He's not a major role in the film, but his scene added to the film in a wonderful way.
What is it, Neville?
Pig. Climbing up the outside of the house.
The cameos in Muppets Most Wanted are just kind of peppered here and there, willy-nilly. At first it's fun to point out people you recognize, but it does get old after a while. There are so many of them, and none of them really added a lot to the movie. They were just kind of there. But Tom Hiddleston made an appearance, and I am totally okay with that. Anyways, the movie was a ton of fun, and did manage to capture a lot of the old classic Muppets magic, for me at least. If the 2011 film was a spiritual successor to the Muppet movie, Muppets Most Wanted is certainly going after the intrigue of the Great Muppet Caper, which I am all for. I loved the mystery, loved the drama, loved the humor. That doesn't mean that it didn't have its flaws for certain, but in the end, can you really be that down on a Muppet movie?
Together again. Gee, it's good to be together again. I just can't imagine that you've ever been gone. It's not starting over, it's just going on. Together again. Again. Now we're here and there's no need remembering when. Cause no feeling feels like that feeling. Together up, together up, together up. Together again.
And that's it for my review of Muppets Most Wanted. Please be sure to subscribe for more, and you can also add me on Facebook and Twitter for all of my other nonsense. And with that, I'll see you next week.
Come on, everybody, strike up the band. We're doing a sequel. That's what we do in